Karen, can you hear me? Karen,
Yes, I
hi.
can hear you.
Hi.
Hi.
All right, we're gonna see about the feedback thing. As we always say. How long does it normally take? We're good? Oh, good. Okay. Is everybody ready? Everybody's microphones on? No, they are. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the February, wow, it's still February, 26th meeting of the Zoning Board of Review. I'm Kate Atwater Butcher. I am the chair. We have Jen Brady, the zoning official, and Sally Broussard, our stenographer. Karen Browning is on Zoom. She is our attorney. And I'll let the rest of the board introduce
Bob
themselves.
Lamoureux.
Robert Closter.
Susan Bush.
Corey Black.
We do have one request for a continuance this evening, so if anybody's in the audience, I'll get that over with first. The Demos Family Trust, Gregory and Desiree Demos, trustees, Plat 3, Lot 108, application for a variance under Section 306C for an addition to a single-family dwelling. They're requesting a continuance. Are we good with March? Okay.
As long as
Bob is not going to
I'm
be here
not
in
here
March.
much.
Is everybody else going to be here in March? Okay. I'll make a motion to continue this to the March 26th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Right. Okay, so we have no applications this evening. The first public hearing is Mark and McGuire and Linda Jackson, Plat 11, Lot 10-2, fire number 778 Mitchell Lane. It's an extension of a previously approved decision for an application for a variance from Section 306C for side setback relief and for a special use permit under Article 3, Section 306E, Article 4, Sections 401 and 406 to demolish an existing single-family dwelling and replace it with a larger single-family dwelling.
Good evening.
Hi.
Requesting a 2-year extension if you granted, basically the standard problems with material supplies and construction.
Yep.
Made it impossible to begin the job in the first year.
Okay, and there's no issue with us. We did someone else's for 2 years, right?
We have, yeah.
We have, no, we can do that, right?
Karen,
We can grant it for 2 years, correct?
a 2-year extension.
Yeah, there's no prohibition on extensions, meaning you can extend for as long as you'd like.
Okay.
The only caution I would give you is that certainly if there were to be a change in the zoning ordinance or
Right.
the comprehensive plan, that could become difficult.
Okay, okay.
And could you put a date on it? Is it 2 years from the recorded decision or
Done on the last two, instead of run from the time the extensions.
recorded?
Recorded. Okay, so two years from that date would be the, okay, all right. And nothing's changing. It's all the same.
No change in the law, no change in the facts. In fact, an application and nothing in the zoning ordinance has changed. Just that was part of the application.
Okay, great, thank you. Do we have any questions for Joe?
No.
Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you. Okay, the next up is Block Island Housing Board, Plat 18, Lot 2-3, West Side Road. It's extension of a previously approved decision for an application. Yeah.
Are you gonna render the decision for these two before they start the hearing, or we have to do
You don't you want a motion to continue?
next meeting? You close the public hearing, you didn't have a motion.
Well, when we, at the end of the evening, like these are decisions that aren't,
Yeah.
those are no-brainer decisions, so that we can do those at the end of the meeting. Wait, I don't want to make these guys wait for us, that's not fair to them. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Okay, so start again. Second hearing is Block Island Housing Board, Plat 18, Lot 2-3, West Side Road, an extension of a previously approved decision for an application of a special use permit under Section 405 Affordable Housing for construction of 8 duplex structures, creating a total of 16 rental units restricted to year-round residents. Hi, Cindy.
Good evening, Cindy Pappas representing the Housing Board, and respectfully we
request an extension, an extension
Yeah.
of this, variance for 2 years.
Okay,
We, have, the project as is, no changes, no substantial changes as of this point in time. And as you know, under reservation.
okay, great. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Cindy?
Nope.
Right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right. And then our final hearing of the evening is for Louis Gaffett, Plat 6, Lot 3-3, application by Tom.
Yeah, we could.
I think they could probably leave.
Yeah, they could leave.
I don't think that it's fair to make these guys wait. I think. you can leave.
Bye-bye.
I'm recused.
Um. All right, I'll start over again. Uh, Louis Gaffett, Plat 6, Lot 3-3, an application by Thomas Martucci for a special use permit under section 408 for a change of a use to an inn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sandy J. Resnick. I'm an attorney, Wallingford, Rhode Island, and I represent Thomas J. Martucci, who is the applicant. And the property, as you know, is located at 85 Ocean Avenue. The request of Mr. Martucci, who has site control over this today, is to convert this from a restaurant to an inn. We've had approval from the Historic District Commission, from the Conservation Commission, and a favorable opinion, advisory opinion from the planning board. And I think what I would like to do right off the bat is call my expert witness, Ed Pimentel, who is a land use planner. I'd ask that Ed be recognized as an expert. Ed appeared before
Wait,
this
he's
board
a-
in the
yes.
past. He's been
We recognize him as an expert.
So what I mean,
Karen? Can you swear?
Sorry
him
about
in?
that. Good evening, Mr. Pimentel. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Edward Pimentel for the record, that's P as in Paul, IMENTEN.
thank you. Ed, you're familiar with this application, and I know you're familiar with the comp plan of the town, the zoning ordinance, the planning ordinance, and the new land use, special use permit ordinance, is that correct?
Yeah, and I've actually had quite considerable experience over the last couple of years. It was this time frame last year when I did the Draper in. So they're almost a similar application.
I mean, I've asked you to do a report and analyze this, could you give us the results of that report?
Sure. A little bit of overkill, but it's usually my typical methodology, so I start off with a neighborhood analysis. What I did with reasonable general use and not only the current usage, but the intensity and massing and scale of all the uses in the surrounding blocks. And the reason for that is I just wanted to evidence neighborhood compatibility. In the subject instance, the use that's there is probably a little more intense than what we're proposing anyway, because a restaurant and pub is more transient, a lot more activity level than the inn we're proposing. But I do it anyway, just to protect and preserve the record. And the reason for that is if you look on page 14 and 19, I then compare all of the dimensional criteria of our proposal to that of the surrounding character. Obviously, we're not talking new construction. We are adding dormers, we've got HGC approval so that we have proper headroom and reasonable living space on that third story. But otherwise, from a massing and scale perspective, very little is changing on that property. We're gonna keep the same quantity of a pervious surface, which is majority is pervious surface. We're not adding any additional pervious surface. Well, we are doing is probably a little less activity going out in front, because that was used as an outdoor dining area. We'll put out occasional tables and chairs for the employees, so they have an outdoor area, but it's not gonna be an actual active area anymore like it was right now, as it was in the past. The use is permitted by special use permit. I'll get into the standards in a second. As this board well knows, perhaps the greatest need in this community is housing for the In addition to regular housing for year round, there's housing for seasonal employees. And reasonably accommodations, both from a physical perspective and from a safe and sanitary perspective. Mr. Martucci is redeveloping the restaurant chain, the hotel restaurants, series of restaurants. It should be coming online in the summer. And he wants to make sure that his employees have safe and sanitary and clean housing. Mr. Martucci understands also that we're trying to minimize vehicular interaction in travel and on the island. So we're really going to give accommodate 2 vehicles, one for the manager and one for the head chef. The rest, we're going to provide shuttle services. There will be the ability for bicycles to walk and so forth. And obviously it's also within pretty much walking distance, but there will be shuttle service to the employees and so forth, and we're going to minimize the vehicular travel, unlike present situations in which people are driving to the restaurant, pub, and meetings. So that'll be minimized considerably. I forwarded an inordinate amount of quotes out of your comp plan, because it was right on point. I don't think I need to do that. The report has been submitted into the record. So let me just get right into the criteria. So first I'll address the general and then the specific. So the first one has to do really with the design of the building and so forth. This building is being changed in a very minor manner. Like I said, it's only to be reforms, and we have received HTC approval. We are maintaining the historical.
Can I just interrupt you for 1 second? Are you going to be submitting any exhibits?
I was going to introduce it at the end of this.
Okay, all right. I just didn't want to.
Oh.
Right. Yeah,
I need it in the record, I'm sure it's in the record, but
it's not an exhibit unless it's marked as an exhibit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
I wrote second that it wasn't provided.
We have them.
So.
Sorry, excuse me. Carry on.
So, yeah, so what I did provide was both my report, the neighborhood analysis, and then a copy of my list. So we have received HTC approval. Like I said, there's very minor modifications to the facility itself anyway. We're maintaining the character and integrity of what was previously approved. And we're ensuring that the dorms fit the character of not only the structure, but the surrounding room. Number 2, once again, has to do with the impact of this use on the surrounding character. That's why I did my neighborhood analysis. What was interesting was there's a variety of uses from residential to quite a quantity of different commercial uses, but there was actually several inns just immediately in the immediate area. So obviously there's a need, and that need is being fulfilled in some way. But this one, if you look at my neighborhood analysis, is the least dense of all the inns. Small lots, densely developed. That is not our intent here. We're just taking the existing physical footprint and just putting it on. Number 3, once again, has to do with pedestrians and vehicles. Like I said, we've been thoughtful about this. We're minimizing it down to 2 mandatory, the head chef and the manager. And otherwise, we're going to be providing services to for the employees to get to their place of employment, to the inn itself, to their accommodations. The next one's about utilities. No, nothing is changing in that regard. It's going to in fact, less intense use of the inn. Impact of natural resources. First of all, I didn't find any in the immediate area in your comprehensive plan anyway. But regardless, there's no new construction going on. Obviously, from an economic development perspective, which is one of the standards, we are definitely assisting in this regard because we are about to bring on a brand new hotel and multitude of restaurants. You need the employees. They need to reside in a location that's safe and clean. And this falls right in line with their comprehensive plan. And I actually have several folks in that regard. Once again, the next one is consistency with the zoning ordinance. It was our intent to make sure that we only needed a special use permit and not any dimensioning. So we went through all the entire table, and there's a table in our report that shows compliance with it. Once again, we go, the next one again seems to be a redundant one that talks about providing alternate means beyond just vehicular traffic. So like I said, we're going to provide shuttle, we're going to provide the ability to put bicycles in places to put their bikes and so forth. Finally, we get into the specific and objective criteria. As of January of 2024, the state legislature mandated that all 39 cities and towns decide what uses should be allowed by special use and what should be permitted by right. And if you're going to conclude that a use is allowed by special use permit, it now must be based on specific objective criteria and no longer subjective criteria. And in this case, for an inn, the specific and objective criteria is that no kitchen or food preparation facilities are allowed in individual units. None will be furnished. There'll be one general common kitchen. Obviously, these individuals can't be eating all meals. It's an improbability, so they would have the ability to prepare their own food, but it's just one common general kitchen on the first floor. And it's going to be modernized as well, I've been instructed. Number 2 is the dimensional requirements. The existing structure and what is provided. So minimum developable land area requires 20,000, a lot of capacity 30,000. The maximum lot building coverage is 25%. We've kept that negligible. The previous one is at 7.9%. Maximum lot coverage, meaning total building and impervious, is allowed up to 50% more than 11.4%. We have no intentions to add to that. So in conclusion, I believe we meet the general criteria, the specific and objective criteria, and I really feel most assured that this is consistent with what I'm doing.
We mark that as exhibit A. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Exhibit ones. Exhibit 1,
Well,
yeah. It's a- Sure. Applicant's exhibit 1 is in redevelopment special use permit analysis by Pimental Consulting Inc. Dated February 18th, 2025. Applicant's exhibit 2 is a neighborhood analysis chart.
Mr. Martucci is here, if anybody has any general specific questions, and it's the operation of the inn, but it is what it is.
So are you gonna submit building plans or anything for it? Is that, okay, let's go. I'll mark 3, yeah.
We have some.
I know, but they need to be,
Exhibit,
you know,
yeah.
used to people submitting them.
So
Crazy.
that's a parking plan you might want
Yeah.
to.
Parking thing, can we go, I want to go over parking, I want to go over the dormers, I want to go over, there's something else, it'll come to me as we're going through that, so, just,
Well, there is a plan that was submitted. The parking.
So let's mark that applicants 3.
okay,
That-
is this the plan, the parking plan that you're submitting? Okay,
It's the actual existing plan, I think the existing plan was for more than sufficient number based upon the zoning ordinance. And as testified to, we're not gonna be using it all because only 2 of the guests today
okay,
will be having. We verified that we meet the minimum requirement.
which is 9,
I think it's less than
6.
6? Okay, so applicant's exhibit 3 is a parking plan.
In regards to the parking plan, it says there's 10 parking spaces there, but I only saw 9.
There's 2 handicap spots in the back.
Oh, sorry, TJ,
time.
I'm gonna get you sworn in. Karen, sorry. Karen, can you swear Mr. Martucci in?
Apologies, I'm a little slow with the buttons tonight. Good evening. Could you say your name for the record?
Thomas J. Martucci.
And Mr. Martucci, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth during the course of this hearing?
I did.
Thank you.
You answered the question about the parking.
So there is two additional, I believe it's two additional handicap spots on the back side of the property.
Yeah, that was labeled 8 and 9,
Okay.
so I was just curious about the 10th.
Maybe it's just 9 spaces.
Okay.
So there's. Oh,
S-
8
one
and 9
through
are to the
Yeah.
top to the south, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the ones
Yeah.
that. Currently, people have been using the fire lane as parking. And it's, but just have a plan to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, one of the neighbors, give her name,
Cindy,
Cindy.
She made it clear that was something that she wanted to see addressed, so I decided that certainly we'll put things up on the fence.
okay,
The only thing I'm worried about is if they see the property being underutilized, strangers just gonna start parking there. That's
I think that's just something you gotta police, like we have to police it in my
Yeah.
building, like it's, you know, you just,
So, just like,
you just have to police it the way we all do.
Tables fixed out front, they said, no, leave it rid of it.
Well, one of my concerns is when you speak to like only needing your managers having the cars and no one else having cars, are people gonna bring cars over and then park them someplace else?
No, it's gonna be written in the lease, they're gonna sign, so Mr. Resnick drafted me a weekly lease. And that they'll have to, when they pay their rent, they'll re-sign a lease every week, and in that says that they can't have anything more than pretty much.
It's just,
So
I mean, I'll sneak it in and I'll put it over on, you know.
Just,
No, I know, but you know, I mean, I'd rather have them park on the property,
I mean,
you know, than trying to park. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. Okay,
So while we're on parking, there wasn't a butter who expressed some concern about the parking. That area behind the inn where there's a fence, a split rail fence, people park behind that. Is it possible to just put some no parking signs there? And I know they might not be effective, but at least they signal that people aren't supposed to be parking there. Okay, I think that would be helpful.
what's a few more?
The planning board was concerned about that as well. So yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
No, and I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we're gonna run into an issue with the businesses in the, you know, in the
Sure.
neighborhood. Looking for, you know, everybody's always looking for parking, so the more signage, the better, I mean.
Easy, very easy and reasonable request, absolutely.
Okay, so that's the parking. Let's talk dormers. Now. Right, there was no sideline, the variances on this property are for the retaining walls, correct? Yeah, so it's, you don't have to worry about that, right? The floor plan. There's no dimensions on these floor plans, and,
So so I hired Frank Parkowitz who did the original design.
mhm,
He kind of like got together what we could for HDC to make that deadline. They are dimensions now. For like, they're not full construction drawing, but there is some, we do have dimensional drawings
Okay.
now. We just got them actually, yes.
I mean, just think that, you know, they're gonna be looking at that down the road,
Well,
you know,
for building, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Certainly, that's not enough to submit for building.
okay,
You wanna mark the
let's mark these, the building, plans,
floor plans?
and there's no other,
There's 2 sheets of floor plans and
there's
then. there's
2 sheets of
renderings.
floor plans, but there's 2 images.
Same.
This is all the same. Side and,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, applicant's exhibit 4 is a set of floor plans dated 8/28/24. I can't do it. Is that right? That's what the date is on, two pages of floor plans and 2 images
Elevations,
of elevations. They're not elevation drawings, they're just
Renderings.
renderings. Yes, thank you. Don't think of that word.
But as far as dimensions, nothing's
Nothing.
changed in terms
No
of the size
footprint,
of
the
the
footprint
building.
stays.
Footprint stays the
same.
same.
So there's two kitchens, one on the second floor and one on the first floor. They use the bottom floor as prep. It seems like it's small, like simple meals, and then upstairs has the actual exhaust to just a correction.
Yeah, I did speak on it, sir.
So the first floor is not gonna be kitchen one, it's gonna be on the second floor, and that'll be somewhat of a mess hall or
Cafeteria.
where they can just go beat up hopefully probably leftovers from the restaurant, so.
And as Mr. Matucci said, he's gonna take the other kitchen and move it into a laundry
You
facility.
need to use the microphone,
I'm
because
sorry.
Karen can't hear,
And he's gonna take the other kitchen and convert that into a laundry facilities for the employees.
Okay, because these drawings showed kitchen, the kitchen in both, so,
yeah.
you, can we, since these are marked, can we just, TJ, can you maybe cross off this kitchen and write laundry room on it for me and initial it?
But nothing prohibits having two kitchens. The inn is just, it's prohibited
No,
from having a
but
kitchen in
let's-
each room.
Be consistent with what they're
Okay.
saying,
Yeah, that's true.
so just cross that out.
And they are the existing, but we wanna be, any laundry facilities and that.
Just write down what it's going to be.
It says laundry.
You know what that says?
Is that whole area gonna be laundry or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not changing.
And then what happens where the walk-in is?
That's
Where
right
you,
now.
yeah, use your microphones and
Sorry.
you just make sure your lights are on, because Karen can't hear anything and my microphone.
The walk-in cooler, there's, I think, some miscommunication. It was intended to stay. Although I heard that they're trying to sell it. It's supposed to be part of the property. We were gonna use that walk-in cooler for just backup, like beer and liquor storage.
So you won't be doing any, are you gonna be doing prep work there?
We don't necessarily anticipate it. The kitchen at 212 Water Street is fairly large. I think the initial thing came from because we thought that we needed to have a commercial use on the first floor.
Gotcha.
And if we had to do prep there, we would do it. Just to satisfy the requirements, but we don't anticipate on having to do that.
Okay.
We also, if down the road, we were just gonna just leave it there, like leave it tiled and everything, just to give us flexibility down the road.
Okay.
With all the plumbing.
Sounds- I'm just gonna go through. Anybody have any questions on this? I'm just going through the file, making sure we're not missing anything.
So one of my questions, I guess, to us is, there's some language in the planning board advisory
Yeah.
on short-term rentals, essentially. So long as it's not going to be used for short-term rentals. And I don't know what that means for this particular property.
It's an inn.
It's an inn.
I know.
It's an inn.
They've applied for it as an inn, and I mean, if they want to make it a short-term rental and have,
Sure.
go downstairs, then they have to come back to us because it's again a change of use. The use changes again, right?
Well, yeah, but if
Yeah.
they have, also, if they have employees that are living there, and you mentioned a weekly lease for the employees, they can never control the fact that an employee quits or get fired, whatever, okay? So the planning board's recommendation, as far as that's concerned, I think is a little bit
I just,
Well, I can probably explain it a little bit.
Yeah.
The short-term rentals would
Unreasonable.
be, like an inn wouldn't fall under the category of a short-term rental.
correct. Anyways,
So, yeah, I don't, I mean, you can put that in your decision or not, but I can find you the definition of short-term rentals if you want to add it.
I mean, if he wants to change it into a short-term, if he wants to change it into a single-family dwelling,
Right, this is for an inn.
this is an inn.
this is an inn.
Not-
It is a short-term
But
rental.
they're
He's not
excluded
applying
for-
Yeah.
You know,
Correct.
he'd have to come back to us to change the use again. So it's, to me, Karen, am I correct in that? If they change it into a single-family dwelling? Be a big. single
Yes,
family.
if the use changes, they would have to come back and either get another special use permit, or it depends on the use and what the use table says at that point.
Right now, short-term, this is an inn and the use of having employees, housing for employees is falls under the use, in use, not short-term rental. So that's not an issue. Okay.
So.
No, so this would then be properly characterized as an inn. If that were to change in the future, we would have to deal with it in the future.
So your zoning ordinance defines, right, what an inn is, what a short-term rental is, and what a hotel is. The only difference between an inn and a hotel is one is 10 and fewer, and the other one's 11 or more. So we're going to use it in accordance with that definition. So whatever's allowed in a hotel or inn operation is all we're going to do. The difference here is we're keeping 10 units or fewer, that's an inn, right? If it was 11, it'd have to be called a hotel. Outside of those parameters, we're not going to do anything.
Great. Okay. We do have advisories from the planning board, favorable advising for the planning board, and a certificate of appropriateness from the district commission, as well as a favorable advisory from the Conservation Commission. And we do have a letter from an abutter that I am going to read as requested.
Before
Yeah.
you read that, do you want to mark the advisories as exhibits?
Sure.
The planning board.
Really my job to more people, but okay. I would, exhibit 5 would be advisory from the zoning board, it's advisory from the planning board. 6 would be the certificate of appropriateness for the, from the historic district. 7 would be Conservation Commission. And then Cindy's letter would be, I will read.
Cindy, that's the one you were talking about.
No, Cindy's letter is not an exhibit.
No.
And let's mark the site plan. TJ, this is the site plan you're using, the original one?
It is.
Site plan dated 12/7/17 by Hilburn Land Surveyors, exhibit 8. Okay. To the members of the zoning board and Jim Brady, as the butters on Calico Hill, we would like to offer input regarding the Thomas Martucci variance or special use permit hearing. While we have no issue with Mr. Martucci and his request for a zoning change on plat 6 lot 3-3 and wish him all the best with his project, we do have concerns related to the property's use during the time it was owned by the Gaffett family. There are stipulations made at the time with various town boards that the Gaffett family promised to comply with, but these have not been adhered to as of today's date. 1, the fire lane that lies to the west of the property and wraps around to the back of the building was never to be used for parking. However, it has been used for parking for the duration of their ownership. 2, the Gaffett property was to have parking spaces for a total of 9 cars, 2 ADA spaces in the back for easy access to the ramp, and 7 in the front of the building. Additional parking has been carved out directly in the back of the building, almost like a corral with a split rail fence added to delineate additional parking. 10 or more cars could easily fit there. To reiterate, only 9 spaces were permitted with this property. The mechanicals, exhaust fan and hood, located in the west side of the roof, were never concealed as required by the historic district. 5, the flood lighting in the back of the building shines directly into our homes behind. Outdoor lighting should be directed downward, not outward. Mr. Martucci has assured me that I have passed on to neighbors that he is happy to comply with all the above issues. While the mechanicals may no longer be a concern with the new dormer, we wanted to include them in our list of items that were not adhered to. For clarification, we ask the boarding board make note of these issues and include them in the findings of fact. We've addressed a lot of these already, with the parking and the mechanicals are gone, right? Because the hood, are you leaving the hood?
The hood's gonna stay, the makeup air, which is the piece sticking way up on the top, that's gonna come off. And then the exhaust, which is coming out the side, she wanted that wrapped. We're not sure, I mean, I certainly don't anticipate on them doing any type of cooking that would require an exhaust hood to that extent. I was gonna ask my HVAC guy if there's any other way to because there'll be literally no exhaust at all, like if they were just cooking eggs or something,
Right.
like similar to your thing. So, if that stays, I'll wrap it, for sure. So like I told her I would wrap it. If we can get rid of it, because it doesn't look necessarily pretty, I would like to get rid of it and then either just do like some type of residential, like, yeah, like just like a small thing like that. And then I'll save the motors, obviously, if for whatever reason, but I would prefer to just take it off. Because if not, then I have to take it off anyways to do the dormers, then I'll have to pay to put it back on. So I'd prefer to take it off and leave it off, providing I could get some type of like high-powered residential fan to just take out the small
Right,
exhaust that's in the kitchen.
okay. And then the outdoor lighting isn't really our purview, but.
That's super simple. So it's just the neck it's a gooseneck. It's pointing up and you just gotta just point it down. It's like the stuff she's asking for is really, really simple. And
Okay.
it's what she's verbally asking for is consistent in that letter. And I'm more than willing to sign up for all of that.
I'm sure they appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
I don't.
No? Okay, this is a public hearing. Does anybody in the audience have anything they'd like to say? Mary Jane? Mary Jane, you gotta come, use a microphone and you probably should be sworn in. Yeah. Karen? She was very, Karen's our.
Good
attorney
evening. Could you raise your right hand?
on the Zoom.
Oh, sorry.
Could you state your name for the record, please?
State your name for the record.
Oh, thanks. Hearing aid. Mary Jane Balser.
And Mary Jane, could you spell your last name for me?
Spell your last name. Spell your last name, please.
Balser.
And Mary Jane, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth during the course of this hearing?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Sorry,
That's
hearing
okay.
aids.
That's okay.
That's why I would like to make a comment that I like the table a lot better than I used to like the other. It's really nice. I am across the street, as you well know. I'm across the street from Captain Nick, the pub, and the existing building, which is now to be turned into an inn. Right now, as we speak, there's 20 cars in my parking lot. At the hearing, when they were building this building, I came. When building inspector wanted 16, which I thought was not fair because I had 26, I made that comment. But they overrode him and went to 9. I have everybody in my lot all summer. Now, I wanted to ask then, which I tried to present, that all 3 of those buildings basically had 0 parking and a lot of garbage behind. And that I thought they should master plan it because they can go right out from the side by the Woonsocket House. If they had one way in, they'd be able to park on angles all the way across and probably put plenty of more parking than is available because basically in the back of those 3 buildings, nothing is being used appropriately. Now, I'd like to know how many rooms the inn is going to have, please.
It's gonna have 10 rooms. You unfortunately missed the whole parking discussion.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. TJ, do you want to address Mary Jane? You could. Carol.
Karen can't hear you if you don't use.
I'll share with you.
Hi, I'm TJ Martucci.
Mary Jane.
Nice to meet you, Ms. Mary Jane. So even though we do have 9 spaces in the parking plan, the inn that we have with 10 rooms only requires 6. I am limiting only my head chef and my general manager is only going to be the 2 people to allow to have a car. Everyone else has to have a bicycle. Given that the proximity of their work is 300 yards away, there's no reason for them to have a car whatsoever. So part of their lease, which is a weekly lease they need to sign, will say that they're not allowed to have a car, not allowed to have pets, not allowed to smoke, not allowed to use drugs, and not allowed to have a car. So that type of thing. So I don't want it. I don't want it on the property. The only thing I was saying was if they see all those open spots, well, who else is going to try to park on my property? That, we're going to put signs up to say that we will tow. And I will call Mr. Mott, I think, to have them towed, but I'll do my best. That's all I can. But if there's cars in that lot, only 2 would be mine and the rest would be strangers. I don't know where they would be coming from.
I think you need to, well, this is a civil
Yeah.
issue, not a zoning issue when you get into where people are parking and not, but I'll let you guys deal with that at another time. but they have their 9 spaces
I know.
and an inn, and they meet the requirements for an inn
As far as parking?
as far as parking.
Yes, 5.3
Mhm.
parking spaces are required.
5.3 is required, they have 9.
You do want to make sure that there's a loading zone identified on that parking plan. I believe there is, but
I say something, Mary Jane, you should be happy. They're getting rid of the pub. It's gonna reduce the whole parking in the area. He's getting rid of the pub, so it's gonna reduce the parking in the whole area.
Sure. So, if it's an inn, and that's really what it is, but what's going to happen is the parking is going to not be taken up by them, but it's going to be taken up by everybody at the pub and at Nick's.
Oh,
It's
okay.
going to keep flowing the way it always has flowed across the street. And if they're there now, as you well know, there's nobody on the island right now. And if you drive through there, that parking lot is filled all the way up everywhere, and they're all over my side, and it's not even summer. It's impossible to get in the grocery store.
What
That was
happened?
caused by development zoning hearing the first time when Mark asked for 16 places, when they required 26 of me. For a 99-seat restaurant, 99-seat over there, 2 apartments for me, banquet hall for them. I never was given because they did not take the recommendation from the building inspector at that time. This board did not do that. Now, what I would like to ask is that maybe he and the owners of the other 2 buildings might be able to get it done.
And again, Mary Jane, that
I
is
know
a
that.
civil issue. It's not a zoning issue. He meets the standards for the zoning for
I
parking,
know he does.
for the requirements. That is what we look at.
I know
I
that.
understand it's really frustrating. And I know because my office sits right on your, on
I
your
know.
property too.
I'm not asking
So-
this board to do anything. What I'm here to ask is that perhaps maybe that the new owner might try to see if there was any possibility, because if it was one way in and out on the other side, it would be better for everyone.
That's conversations to be had at a different
This was
time.
my only forum to have.
I got you. I hear you.
And so I thank you for listening. This goes back to the first hearing when the building was built.
Which I don't think
But
any
I-
of us had.
But
on
I
that
do
hearing,
forgive
so-
all of you for that.
Well, we weren't,
But I
Any
thank
of
you,
us on
I
that.
thank you for the opportunity, and I would like very much to be able maybe to talk to you and the other 2 people. If we could. Thank you.
thank you, Mary Jane.
Thank you, Mary Jane.
There is not a loading. I don't see a loading area. Do they need loading for an inn?
it says for all commercial uses, so, thought it was in the rear of the building.
I mean, there's plenty of space.
Yeah, there's
Right.
plenty of
Maybe
spaces.
just, like, if TJ could.
Can
put
we
a
just write
note-
loading area right back
Yes,
here?
somewhere, so that it is,
It's not gonna be quiet, so we'll just leave it.
yes, that's what I,
Yeah, just-
yeah.
Yeah, TJ, right?
But because it said, because that is
Can you just write loading area right here
identified in the zoning ordinance.
and then
Say-
initial it?
Perfect, thank you.
Just put loading.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Any other
Okay.
questions? Any other comments from the audience? I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. We do not write decisions, special use permit decisions in a night. So we'll have a decision for you at the next meeting, which is March 26th.
But you do talk
Yeah,
about
we're
it.
gonna
Yeah,
talk-
yeah, yeah.
The
yeah, yeah.
consensus as
But
to
we'll
whether or
have a
not,
Formal decision.
yes.
Okay.
This
Hmm?
is
The
all-
explanation on that?
You don't need to do this part.
Okay, so when we write decisions, they're usually, well, I don't know if you've seen the decisions from the former building, but that would be how we write decisions. And
But I don't know so much.
Kate, I think what he's asking is, he's
Why?
trying to figure out when he can start.
I know, I understand that. I
Yeah.
clearly understand
I
that.
mean, we really,
I understand that, sir. It's not my fault that this process just got started last month. I mean, that's not the zoning board's problem. We have a process in the way that we do things. And that's it. We don't write special use permits on the fly. We just don't, we write them, we read them, and for decision to be made at the following meeting, And that's how we do it. So we've always operated out on occasion. If we have a variance, it's very easy to deal with. We can write them in an evening because they're easy. But especially use permit is a complicated decision, as you know, as your expert went through all the things. It's not just something that you write quickly. And we will be taking our time to write this, and we will have it ready for the March meeting.
We do have discussions.
We have
coming up
discussions.
here.
You're gonna get in a good understanding, but you're not gonna have a decision tonight.
I'm fine, right, because I don't have a decision until March 26th.
March 26th is when the decision will be voted on. Okay, so the first hearing is Mark McGuire. Every-
So that
Yeah.
Mark can stay there and he doesn't
All
have to
right.
go back and
Okay.
forth.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah, okay,
Susan,
okay.
stay over there. I have no issue with TJ's application. I think that it meets, the standards and, I think the issues that we can write into the decision, into the stipulations of the decision. Some of the things that are under our purview, there's things that aren't under our purview. Well, how everybody else feels.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
Okay. When is the meeting? The 25th,
March 26th.
26th? Does anybody want, this is a good practice special use permit. All right, I'll write. I'll write it.
Mark, are you gonna?
Mark, do you want to write it?
I'll write it, yeah.
Just because I'm away next week and then I'm away.
Yeah,
I'll further
I'll
afield the
I'll
week-
write it.
2 weeks after, yeah. Okay. All right, and, okay. So, Mark's gonna write that, and then, as far as extension of both Mark's application and the housing board, does anybody have any issues with those?
No.
I can write those. Corey, you should write them.
They're already written.
Yeah, that's actually good. Just get your feet wet. Maybe you write Mark's and I'll write the housing board. Okay. All right. All right. Is that anything else? We have minutes. I did not get a chance to read through them. I can do that really quickly.
I did.
They're fine. Should I just take your word for that?
Yes.
Practice of withdrawing regarding once the decision has been recorded and posted. You can proceed as your owners during the appeal period. You have to wait for the
Sure.
period to expire.
You can.
You
Yeah.
can proceed.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, I'm reading. I got it right here. I got halfway through them. Sure.
Second.
I move to approve the minutes of the January 20, what was the meeting? 20-something meeting. Supply the day,
22nd.
22nd, then it's July, and then it's January 22nd meeting.
Okay. Second,
Bob.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great, okay. Anything else? Do we have to review and act on rules of procedure for the zoning board of review? We're gonna continue that to the March meeting.
You sure you don't want to render decisions for McGuire and BI Housing now?
Sure.
I just think was just a little bit concerned about a quorum if Bob isn't here
Okay.
next month
So
and
we-
then
we
Mark's
just- for
recused
that, we
on both.
We just make a motion to extend the existing.
Yes, and Karen and I can put
Okay.
a finding or two in it.
Sorry, Corey.
Karen, are you okay with that? If they make a motion to grant the extensions?
Yes, I'm always in favor of trying to wrap that stuff up as quickly as
Okay.
possible.
Because you do have the appeal for the fence next month as well. So.
You do.
It's not being dropped?
What?
Not as of right now, still going.
Wow. They don't even own the property anymore.
I know.
Okay.
Okay. All right, okay, I will make a motion to grant the extension of a previously approved decision for an application for a variance from section 306C for.
Thank you. Your granting.
For McGuire. From Mark McGuire and Linda Jackson, plat 11, lot 10-2, fire number 778 Mitchell Lane. I'll grant the extension previously approved, grant an extension for a previously approved decision for an application for for variance from section 306C for side setback relief and for a special use permit under Article 3, Section 306E, Article 4, Section 401 and 406. To demolish an existing single-family dwelling and replace it with a larger single-family dwelling, I'll grant the extension, I move to grant the extension for 2 years. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Block Island Housing Board Plat 18, Lot 2-3, West Side Road. I move to grant the extension of a previously approved decision for an application of a special use permit under section 405, affordable housing for construction of 8 duplex structures, creating a total of 16 rental units restricted to year-round residents. I move to extend the decision for 2 years.
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I make a motion to adjourn.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Karen.
Good to see ya.